Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I am Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at pitching for today, the 6th of July. It is Saturday. We do have a couple different slates, an 8-game day slate and a 4-game evening or main slate in front of us. I think there's actually a 3-game early slate as well, but we'll focus just on these two slates for pitching. I do not believe that we have any weather issues anywhere across the country for games. Maybe some slight weather risk in New York, but that's not even in on the either of these slates that we're going to look at. So we mainly get to focus on the actual pitching. So let's start with the day slate here. Man at the top, Garrett Crochet is going to be the best option on the slate by the looks of it. A minus 155 favorite. Game total of 7 with juice on the under. K prop of 8.5. Juice is on the under on that one, but 8.5 feels like a pretty strong K prop against this Miami squad. He's gone for 30 plus fantasy points in 3 out of 5 starts. Hasn't been as sharp on the road. Still strong strikeout numbers, but giving up a lot more home runs. Obviously, this ballpark isn't known for home runs at all, so Crochet should be perfectly fine for us. Mackenzie Gore, pitching at home where he hasn't been as strong, but always showcases a ton of upside. Just a matter of if he can control things at all. K prop of 5.5 for him. And he is a minus 135 favorite. Game total is 9. Seems a little high for me, but I think Gore is certainly in play GPP wise. Hunter Green against Detroit. Definitely somebody I'm interested in. He's not as sharp at home, which is obviously a worry. More home runs allowed, just more hits, etc. But we know he offers upside, even though his K numbers to me this year haven't been as strong as previous years. He does come in with an extra day of rest, so I am perfectly fine using Hunter Green. Trying to find the game here. The Reds are a minus 162 favorite. K prop of 7.5. Juice is on the under, but still a pretty strong K prop for Hunter Green at this point. Taj Bradley, I know we used Shane Baz yesterday. Taj Bradley's not been good on the road. 6 home runs allowed in just 14 and a third innings. That is definitely worrisome. But he's certainly capable of double-digit strikeouts in 2 out of his last 4 starts. Looking to find his K prop here. 5.5 juice is on the over. He is a very slight underdog, but somebody I'm definitely interested in, but I do understand his road numbers are a big worry. Lance Lynn against Washington, maybe. I mean, he's thrown the ball pretty well the last couple. Um, but like I mentioned, this game does have a high run total. His K numbers are worse on the road, just overall worse. Um, Maybe he's the last man into my pool type play, but I'm not overly excited about using Lance Lynn. I'm not going to use Kyle Harrison coming off the IL. Taking on Cleveland. Might have some interest in David Peterson. Issue is he's not a big K guy. Walks can be an issue. Uh, Pittsburgh just hit 100 home runs yesterday, roughly. But he has been best on the road. Obviously, just looking at the K numbers, it's not super exciting. Uh, so I think his upside's kind of limited. He is a minus 130 favorite, but the game total is 9.5 right now. His K prop is 5.5 juice on the under. Um, Kind of feels a lot like a Lance Lynn type play. So those two guys are very similar for me. Just not sure I want to go there, but most likely, when looking at the options we do have, we're probably going to want to include one of them, maybe both. Emerson Hancock was always a big time prospect, but man, he just does not show any K upside at this point. Toronto as a team don't strike out all that much. His K prop's just 3.5. Um, he is a slight underdog as well, even though he's pitching at home. I just don't think we need to play Hancock. I'm just not sure that he has the upside that we're looking for. Chernos, a guy that always used to impress me with his arm, but just never seemed to put it together. It's a great matchup against a weak White Sox squad. Um, Probably more of a 5 inning guy by the looks of the way that they're treating him. I think there's enough upside, but barely. Like this starting at Kansas City, if you would have picked up the win, right around 20 fantasy points, eliminates a couple walks, maybe picks up one more strikeout. Now you're looking at mid 20s, which is the upside we're kind of looking for. Like I mentioned, this game's got a game total of 6.5 now. I think it just changed since I started this recording, actually. So, Chirinos might have to make my pool. I'm not overly excited about doing it, but he might just have to make it. Cade Povich, pretty impressive rookie. He hasn't really showcased a ton of upside. For some reason, this game has a total of 9. He's a minus 155 favorite. K prop of 5.5. Juice is slightly on the under, but that K prop does seem high considering his career high now is 6 strikeouts. But if you would have picked up the W against Atlanta here, he's looking at 26 fantasy points. That's the kind of numbers we're looking for. Obviously, it's a solid matchup against Baltimore. He needs to avoid these walks being a big issue. And obviously, some of Oakland can strike out plenty, but they also do have some power. I think Povich is worth it. To be honest, with the way I'm looking at it, I'd rather play Chirinos and Povich over Peterson and Lynn. Feels really weird, but it's kind of the way I'm leaning. Povich for sure. Chirinos is kind of I don't know, flip a coin in comparison to those two. I think at this point I'd rather play Chirinos than Peterson. It's debatable whether I want to play Lynn over him at this point. But kind of sliding down, maybe Andrew Haney has shown some upside recently, coming off of a masterful performance against the elite Baltimore offense. It's just not somebody I love playing, but he does have a K prop of 5.5. And he is a minus 112 favorite. So he might find his way into my pool. 22 and 32 fantasy points. Picks up that win against the Mets, and all of a sudden he's got 26. And that's a number we can live with. So maybe it is Haney at this point. Logan Allen against San Francisco, probably not going to get there. Walks are up. Not big in the K department. So probably just not worth it. Yariel Rodriguez is somebody that's going to intrigue a few people coming off of his best performance at the major league level, I assume. Yep. Finally, still only maxed out at 83 pitches, but he finally went into the 7th. Super efficient against a tough Houston squad. Plenty of K upside in this matchup for him. I am definitely intrigued by the upside. The problem is I don't know that they're going to let him throw more than 80 to 85 pitches. That just might be his limit on the season. So that's really something to debate. Like I mentioned, it just caps the upside just enough. His K prop is 5.5. Juice is on the under. He does have walk issues. He's super volatile. So it's not somebody I want to go super heavy on at all, but he might be in play. There are some question marks here at the bottom, guys that we talked about to include with the guys here at the top. So it'll just kind of be personal preference. If you wanted to stick to just the top 4 and maybe throw in like a Povich and that was your pool, I wouldn't blame you. I'm going to make my pool a little wider, probably 7 or 8 deep. most likely on DraftKings for this slate. But let's look at the main slate, all of 4 games, real quick. It's not a lot to love, to be honest, from a pitching standpoint. Freddie Peralta against the Dodgers, sir. He definitely has upside. He's going to be somebody I want to use. I don't want to go too heavy on him, however, because it is the Dodgers. His overall numbers not quite as strong on the road as far as from fantasy standpoint. Um, K rate's a little lower. Walks are up quite a bit, but uh, I think we just have to use him in case he does the upside thing. K prop of 6.5. He's a slight underdog right now. The Dodgers are minus 112 favorite. Ranger Suarez, the game's a pick 'em right now. Um, Suarez with a K prop of 4.5 juices on the over pretty strongly. A couple of not so great starts in a row, but he's certainly capable of strong performances. We've seen it multiple times this season. He was decent against Atlanta the first time. Not too many hits, just a couple mistakes. Uh, Strikeouts were there. I think he's certainly in play. He has to be on this plate, right? Uh, we don't have great options because we get Seth Lugo going into Coors. Lugo's has been a pretty big surprise this season. K prop of 5.5, juices strongly on the over. He's a minus 162 favorite. Um, I have no problem using pitching against Colorado in Colorado. So Lugo going to be one of my highest owned. I expect he is probably the highest owned pitcher on the slate, as weird as it sounds. Brandon Pfaadt against San Diego has struggled mightily against them. Struggled mightily on the road as well. Has had a couple of decent starts of late, but I just don't really want to use Brandon Pfaadt. I think I'd rather gamble with Waldron a little bit. He hasn't been very good against Arizona either. Um, he did have one strong start against them recently, so that kind of shows us what he's capable of. He is pitching at home, which is where that strong start came from. His last 3 home starts have been elite level. Even added in 4 against the Dodgers where he was really strong. So uh, I think I'd rather use Waldron in this matchup. Waldron is a minus 122 favorite. Waldron's both guys in this game have K props of 3.5 with juice on the over. So I'll just lean Waldron in that scenario. Paxton coming off of a terrible performance, but was actually pretty solid the 3 starts prior. Uh, has been much better when pitching at home, even though there's like just no K numbers, and he's walking a ton of guys when at home. Uh, K prop of 4.5. He is a favorite against Peralta and the Brewers, minus 112. I don't feel great, but I might include him. Uh, it might just come down to deciding between Paxton and Schwellenbach. Um, One strong start at the major league level, the rest not so strong. K numbers have been there, so that's one thing to like. And obviously Philly weaker without Harper and Schwarber. Like I mentioned, it is a pick 'em. Game total of 8.5 with juice on the under. Schwellenbach's K prop is 4.5 with juice on the over. Um, I might go there. It's really going to come down to which one of these 2 guys I want to use. Um, because we're going to end up using Peralta, Suarez, Lugo, Waldron, and then maybe one of these 2. Um, have to get a little creative on a 4-game slate, but there we have it. There's the first look at pitching. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., I will put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And as always, best of luck, everybody.